Good evening and welcome to the September 3rd meeting of the East Point City Council. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Shropshire, Councilmember Freely, Councilmember Ziegler, Councilmember Cummings, Councilmember Mitchell, Councilmember Butler, and Councilmember Martin Rogers. Mayor Holiday Ingram, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms this evening is Captain Robinson. Let's stand for the pledge. Do we have anyone for invocation? Reverend. Be also ready. Mahone, just press the mic right there for me. And what's your name? Press the mic for me.
I'm sorry, Reverend Walter Mobley,
Which,
pastor of Victory Baptist Church in East Point.
welcome. Would you please do our invocation this evening?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless us, Lord, as we do the business of the city. Bless our council persons. Bless our mayor. Bless all the city employees of East Point, and help us, the citizens of this community, be better servants for you. Amen. Thank you.
So tonight we only have one presentation, and this actually came up post the meeting I had today around 4 o'clock. So the ATL Airport CIDs, which includes the areas of College Park, East Point, Hateville, some parts of Clayton County and Atlanta, is exploring and rolling out different emerging mobility solutions. Recent announcement of the PRT, which will connect from the airport through the GICC area through funding by MARTA, is one project. PRT stands for Personal Rapid Transit, I believe. And it's a pilot. The PRT are autonomous shuttles, but they need guideways. They either are suspended in the air or they actually have dedicated lanes. But this is being piloted at the airport in GICC. The other emerging mobility solution or strategy is micro transit. And so the ATL Airport CIDs received $2.6 million from the Atlanta Regional Transit Link Authority to operate microtransit for 2 years. And so microtransit is basically public Uber or Lyft. And the CIDs are exploring vendors and look to be selecting a vendor within 2 weeks towards the end of September. Once they select a vendor for microtransit, they will then go into a 2 to 3 month contract period. And during that period, they will be looking at different stops in different locations, which could include areas within Clayton County, College Park, East Point, Hateville, and Atlanta. And then once the contract is final, they can launch the program within 30 to 60 days. And they're looking for a tentative launch in the towards the end of the first quarter of 2025, if not sooner, in areas like Camp Creek Marketplace, Fort Gillum, and others for different employees. There is another option. They have taken over the Transportation Management Authority that was previously under the city of Atlanta. They are now running that, and that is to transport employees within the ATL Airport CID area in the areas around the airport. Initially, it was 60,000, but now that the CID is taking over, it will be able to provide support with up to 200,000 employees within the CID network through the Transportation Management Authority. The other option is autonomous shuttles. And so while the PRT is an autonomous shuttle and the Trying to go back through my notes. Where is it? Yes. So autonomous shuttles, so basically identifying different areas where they can run autonomous shuttles that would actually be on demand, not on demand, so they would run on a schedule. And people, those schedules would be public, and people would know how the times to get from different spots or points of interest within the CID through usage of that autonomous shuttle. They are meeting with some vendors next week, towards the middle or end of the week, regarding potential areas. They have been looking at some areas around Phoenix Boulevard, in Clayton County and College Park. They've talked to Clayton County and College Park regarding that, but they also are open to considering proposals of different areas within the CID area that we might be able to share with them. And so the reason I added it as a presentation tonight is to give council an update regarding that, and to also talk about the opportunity for there to be a map of an area that includes maybe like our hotel corridor on Virginia Avenue connecting to the airport, Camp Creek, the downtowns in Hateville, East Point, and for that to be considered, and for us to be able to consider giving staff the authority to talk with Hateville, as well as including our East Point Convention and Visitors Bureau in the discussion, because they're looking at the area around Virginia Avenue where the majority of our hotels are, to be able to work with them to come up with a proposed or a map, an area on a map that encompasses different stops within our cities and to the airport through our hotels, and then also to be able to connect to the MARTA stop or our MARTA station, but that would require a level of responding to this rather quickly, because again, the meeting is next week, probably Wednesday or Thursday. And so if council is inclined to give staff the authority to coordinate or work with Hateville and our East Point Convention and Visitors Bureau to bring us back a proposed map or an idea on Monday at our work session, then we'd be able to look at that, and then also say whether or not we'd like for them to share that with the the ATL, CIDs, to be able to share with the potential vendor so that they can look at that area on a map to decide like what might be the cost, what the stops could be, or just a level of feasibility around it. Councilmember Shropshire.
Thank you. So what is the ask for us to vote to allow the,
To allow our staff, East Point staff, probably our economic development department, Mr. Rogers, to work with Hateville and our East Point Convention and Visitors Bureau to be able, along with the interim city manager, to be able to come up with an area on a map that connects, shows a level of connectivity and possibility for autonomous shuttles, and to bring that back to us on Monday at the work session so that council can review it.
is that the motion?
It's kind of long. So the ask is that council authorize staff, economic development, and the interim city manager to work with staff at the city of Hateville and our East Point Convention and Visitors Bureau to create a map of an area for potential autonomous shuttles.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. So Madam City Clerk, if you could also add this to our Monday work session agenda so we can get the updates. Thank you so much, council. Next up, any committee reports? The committees have met is the report, and Budget and Finance is still looking at variances as well as the proposed millage rate. In HR, there's talk of the grievance policy and procedures, as well as evaluation of our direct reports. Okay. Adoption of the council agenda. Is there a motion? You said, Councilmember Martin Rogers said so moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is approval of city council minutes from the August 19th regular meeting of East Point City Council. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Sharp.
I make a motion that we approve the city council regular meeting minutes from August the 19th.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have a public hearing. I will turn it over to the city attorney to read the public hearing rules.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, council. Public hearing rules from section 10-2219 provide the following. Before adopting any change to the zoning maps or the text of the zoning ordinance, the city council shall hold a public hearing following the public hearing by the Planning and Zoning Commission, where a recommendation was made on the petition. Public hearings before the city council shall be conducted as follows. The presiding officer will call for a motion to open and close the hearing. The presiding officer or his or her designee will introduce the proposed zoning amendment before the city council. Staff will then be called upon to present the Planning Commission's recommendation and summarize the staff's written report. Persons both favoring and opposing the proposed amendment will then be provided an opportunity to address the council. The applicant for the proposed amendment or the applicant's designated representative, if any, will be entitled to speak first, followed by other speakers in favor of the proposal for a total of 15 minutes. Those who oppose the proposed zoning amendment will then be permitted to speak for a total of 15 minutes. By majority vote, the council may increase the total time for speakers, provided that each side is given the same amount of time. If there is more than one speaker for a side, the presiding officer may limit the time allotted to each speaker other than the zoning applicant. The zoning applicant may reserve a portion of his or her time for rebuttal. Speakers must adhere to the rules of decorum. Prior to speaking, each speaker shall identify himself or herself and state his or her current address. Each speaker shall speak only to the merits of the proposed zoning decision under consideration, shall address remarks only to the council, and shall refrain from making personal attacks on any other speaker. The presiding officer may refuse a speaker the right to continue if, after first being cautioned, the speaker continues to violate the rules of decorum.
Thank you. I get a motion to open the public hearing.
Open a public hearing.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now open. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Ms. Smith, if you could come up and just walk us through the public hearing.
Will do. Thank you so much. In reference to this item, property located at 1910 Phillips Avenue, property application number is 2023RZ-003-12. The applicant is BRG Consulting. The current zoning of the property is R1A, which is our urban residential zoning district. The request is for a rezoning from R1A, urban residential, to R3 multifamily zoning district to develop new multifamily residential buildings. The applicant is also seeking concurrent variances for relief from section 10-20 65E-D rear yard setback to reduce the 25-foot development standard to 16 feet, 18 inches to utilize the existing condition. Just to state a little bit about the request for the variance, based on proposal that was submitted to Planning Commission. After review and comments, the applicant is not moving forward with the variance. Just wanted to point that out. As stated previously, the current zoning is R1A, which is our urban residential zoning district classification. And the future land development map is redevelopment neighborhood. In the redevelopment neighborhood portion of our comprehensive plan, it calls for future planning in this particular area, which will improve housing conditions. It also has an intent to reduce the number of vacant homes and vacant lots, which this property is currently a vacant lot. This neighborhood within the redevelopment area also is to include and is intended to include an assortment of housing types such as single family, duplex, two-family, and multifamily. And this request is for a multifamily. This is a copy of the site plan for the property. And Planning Commission and staff has recommended approval of the rezoning petition to change from R1A residential to R3 multifamily. The zoning petition is in compliance with the comprehensive plan as redevelopment neighborhood character area supports an assortment of housing types to include the R1 zoning district as a typical zoning found in redevelopment neighborhood character area. Staff also recommends the following condition: that all city code ordinances, such as the zoning standards, are adhered to, including but not limited to landscaping, buffer, density requirements as stated in the comprehensive plan. And the density is 4 to 8 units per acre. This property is approximately half an acre. And I'll stop there. We did receive a letter from the Center Park Neighborhood Association. It's a lengthy letter. Do I need to read it into the record? It's a letter
No.
of support.
So generally, we've never read letters of support
Okay.
into the record. It was emailed though, I believe, to all of us. And so council should have it. I know I received it. I believe everybody received it. But yeah, we've never read letters of support into the record.
Okay.
Not by staff. Somebody else was here. All right, that's it for your presentation. We are, oh, hold on. Let me go to the city attorney. The request to read a letter of support into the record. That's not been our practice.
I would opine, Madam Mayor, that the speaker would need to be here, or another speaker, as you stated, could read it for that speaker, but not for the staff, because then that would be reading something in favor of the proper, of the application, without that speaker being here. So I would think that if it's made a part of the record because you guys got it, and maybe it's attached to their staff report, but not read it into the record.
All right, anyone who would like to speak in favor of the application, please come forward at this time. Anyone speaking in favor?
Good afternoon. Whitney Fuller, applicant. I would actually like to read some of the notes from the letter of support. This letter was addressed on August 20th.
Hold on just a moment.
Oh, yes.
So, city attorney, the letter wasn't written by the applicant. it's a letter that was received in support. So I just want to
I think that's
confirm
fine.
with you. Okay.
The applicant wants to use her time to read the letter, if that's, their plea for the approval for the entitlement, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On August 26th, the president of the Center Park Neighborhood Association, Curtis Carmichael, wrote, and it is a lengthy letter, so I will get to the point, that they do approve and support of the application. They cite that the application is essentially returning a non-conforming lot into conformity, and that they are interested in the parking being off-street, that there's lighting at the front of the street and near the building, that there's consistent landscaping throughout the property. And they do mention two other points that the city of East Point are asked to coordinate with, and that's street improvements, because 1910 Phillips Avenue dead ends at this property near the headwinds of Camp Creek. They also ask for more inclusive coordination when it comes to virtual public hearings. They cited having trouble accessing links to participate in public hearings when it deals with rezoning applications. And that concludes the points of the letter of support.
Does that conclude your comments?
It does.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition, come forward at this time. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition, come forward at this time. Anyone in opposition? In a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is closed.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. Excuse me, sorry. I make the motion that we approve the rezoning.
Do you have,
Thank you. Make the motion to waive the first reading.
it's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? I'm assuming that's unanimous. Okay, is there any further action on this item?
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we approve the rezoning as presented by staff.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? So the actual item says request a rezone with variances. And so I believe in the presentation, staff indicated that the applicant is no longer seeking variances. Is that correct?
That's correct, Madam Mayor, and I will also ask if the motion does include to the condition that we have on the screen.
So maybe if you could pull up the ordinance, I guess share my screen, and I'll tell you when to share it. Let me pull it up.
The actual ordinance, Mayor. The actual ordinance that's on it. Okay. Oh, you want to go to the top? Yeah.
They're not in there. They're taken out.
These the conditions that you were concerned about? Are these the actual conditions as of today?
That's a good question, Mayor. I just wanted to make sure that if there's a motion to approve based on staff recommendation had conditions a part of it, that the motion reflects that. But these conditions are different than what we saw, I think, in the staff report. So we'll just have to be clear which ones are going to be applicable to the approval. These in the ordinance.
The conditions that were highlighted in the presentation are the correct conditions.
Yeah, so the ordinance attached to the agenda doesn't have those conditions in it. So I was gonna ask Councilmember Butler to amend his motion to just adopt this ordinance, but those aren't there. Can you scroll to the top, please? So, Councilmember Butler, consider either amending your motion in this way, because I haven't called for the question, or for someone to propose a friendly amendment. Ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of East Point by rezoning properties located at 1910 Phillips Avenue from R1A Urban Residential District to R3 Multifamily Residential District, with including the following conditions. If you can go back to the presentation where the conditions are. That all city code of ordinance such as zoning development standards are adhered to, including but not limited to landscaping buffers and density requirements as stated in the comprehensive plan. And hold on real quick, Councilmember Butler, before you respond to that, because that's one condition. I don't know if there's others. Can you go to the next page? No, there's not others.
Yeah, to my comprehension, those conditions would be there with, it's not really a condition. That person automatically has to abide by city codes or ordinances.
So I'm just
that
basing
not
it based upon our city attorney wanting to make sure that the conditions were included. The ordinance that's attached to the agenda has different conditions. And then there's this condition. So you can handle this one of three ways. You can amend your motion. There can be a friendly amendment. It can be tabled so that the ordinance could actually be updated. And then we can adopt the ordinance with the right language.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, I want to comply with what you're asking. I don't see the conditions other than city code of ordinance. Is that what you're speaking to?
Yeah, that's the one I just read. My concern is though that the previous ordinance had about 4 conditions. And so I think the city attorney and staff should make sure that whatever the conditions are, that the ordinance actually reflects it. And if we table the item, then we can remove it from the table before we go into executive session. They can confer on that and get us the ordinance with the right conditions. I'm not trying to impose more or less. I'm just concerned that the city attorney wanted to make sure that the ordinance was approved with conditions. The conditions that are in the ordinance attached to the agenda don't reflect the conditions being recommended here. And I think it would be prudent to table it to get that clarification so that we can make the motion to adopt the ordinance and ensure that the right conditions are there.
Okay, having said that, before we go there, are there additional conditions that were in the ordinance that are not here that you want to include in this?
No,
Okay, so it's just abide by the city code. It says staff also recommends the follow condition that all city code and ordinance such as zoning development XYZ be adhered to. Is that all that you require?
that's correct.
So, Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion this way. Motion to approve the redevelopment of 1019, I'm sorry, rezoning, thank you. The rezoning of 1910 Phillips Avenue with staff recommendation of conditions that city code of ordinance such as zoning development standards are adhered to, included but not limited to landscaping, buffers, and density requirements as stated in the comprehensive plan.
The motion has been amended. Does the second still stand, or is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Discussion.
Councilmember Shropshire.
Can you go back to the other conditions that's in the ordinance? So let me ask you, why were these conditions removed?
Those conditions, those conditions appear to be from a different case. However,
Let me look at that.
can I confer with staff for a moment? Thank you.
Would you like to table this?
I think, so there could be a substitute motion to table. Again, I just don't know that we're ready, but we can get ready. Okay. You get a substitute motion.
I'll
to
make a
table.
motion to table this
Second
item.
motion.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we table this item, which means it will be discussed before we go into executive session. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the public hearing on the property tax millage rate. Madam City Attorney, I believe there are different rules for this public hearing, so if you could read those, please.
Public hearings shall be, and this is Rule 29, public hearings shall be advertised as per the ordinance. The presiding officer will call for a motion to open and close the hearing. Those in favor of the subject will speak first for a total of 15 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to not more than 3 minutes. Those who oppose the subject will then speak for a total of 15 minutes. Each speaker will be limited to not more than 3 minutes. Speakers may give a total of 3 minutes to another speaker after all of those present have had an opportunity to speak. Residents will be given first priority to speak. After all residents have been given an opportunity to speak, non-residents may speak. By majority vote, the council may increase the total time for each side of the subject to a total of 30 minutes per side. Each side will be given the same amount of time. Speakers must adhere to the rules of decorum.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to open the public hearing, please? Is there a second?
Do we have to read waive the first reading?
We gotta have a public hearing first. We won't be taking action. This is just the first public hearing on the millage rate. There's a motion on the floor to open the public hearing. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Brown.
Yes, Madam Mayor, if we can get the Finance Department, Mr. Jeff Jackson and Shannon Golden to come up and walk us through this first public hearing on the budget, on the taxes, millage rate.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Official Code of Georgia 48-532 requires that each levying and recommending authority to annually publish the assessed taxable value of all property by class and in total, the proposed millage rate for the levying and recommending authorities' purposes for the current calendar year, and assess taxable values and millage rates for each of the immediately preceding 5 calendar years. The advertisement must also indicate the percentage increase and total dollar increase for each year advertised. Official Code of Georgia 48-5-32 also requires each levying and recommending authority to complete a rollback millage rate. On the screen, you will see that these are the 5 preceding years that leads up to the fiscal year 24-25, where we have real and personal totaling $2,295,748,371. Our motor vehicle totals $4,052,630, and mobile homes total $76,119. The gross total of all those are $2,299,877,120, less the exemptions, which total $132,690,908, which brings our net total to $2,167,186,212. With the proposed millage rate of 13, that brings the net taxes levied that we expect at $28,173,421, which is an increase of $2,409,970 over the previous year, 9.35%. The rollback millage rate amounts to 12, and we're proposing 13, which is an 8.33% increase over the rollback millage rate. This slide will show you all of the preceding years from January 15 through this year, which shows that in 15, 16, and 17, the millage rate was 15. We decreased it to 13.89 in 18, decreased it again in 19 to 13.45 for 2 years, 19 and 20, decreased to 13.25 in 21. In the last 2 years, it has been 13, and we also showed that we're asking 13 this year. This slide shows the net taxes levied for each of the preceding years, and each year it has increased. This slide will show you the fair market value of a home in 2023 would be 400,000 with a minus value of $2,000, which means the assessed value would be $158,000. Millage rate at 13 will leave your taxes at $2,054. That was last year. With the 8.33% increase this year, that same home would go up to $433,320. The assessed value would be $171,328, $171,328. At 13, the millage rate the tax would then be $2,227.26. That's a difference of $173.26. If divided into monthly increases, it will be $14.44, 47 cents in daily increases. This slide will show you the value of a home last year that might have been $300,000. This year is $324,990. At 40% minus the $2,000, it would be $127,996 that they will be taxed on. At a millage rate of 13, that brings the taxes to $1,663.95. That's an increase of $129.95 per month, an increase of $10.83 per day, an increase of 36 cents. And that's our slide for this evening.
All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. We are here on the public hearing on the property tax millage rate for the city of East Point. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor? Anyone who would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Motion to close the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we close the public hearing.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. Our next public hearing will be on September the 16th, followed by October the 7th. So we'll have 2 more public hearings on the property tax millage rate. Do we have any public comments this evening?
No public comments this evening.
You said no? Okay. Next up is agenda item. Can we get a motion to open the floor for discussion and possible action on Impact Fee Advisory Committee? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open, Mr. Brown.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, I have Ms. Echeverria come up and walk us through the Impact Fee Advisory Committee.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. So on August 12th, 2024, East Point City Council advised me to definitely attend the DDA meeting, the Downtown Development Authority meeting, on August 21st, 2024. The Downtown Development Authority voted and accepted the appointment as the Impact Fee Advisory Committee. So in my prior presentation, we could do 5 people or 10, as long as 50% of that met the criteria of being in a development, building, or real estate industries. So the DDA has 7 members with only 2 meeting that criteria. So my request tonight is to see if Mayor and Council will appoint 3 additional members to fulfill the 50% criteria for the Impact Fee Development Advisory Committee.
So Sonia Booker is in real estate.
Yes, so what I did was I received the resumes of the DDA committee, and we passed that along to our consultants. And based off of their review, we need 3 additional members.
So I'm confused.
Let me go back here. Yes. So I omitted names for, now that it's private, because I'm 100%
Oh,
sure.
here, okay, here. it is.
Yes, so the chairperson is a developer, the vice chairperson is a business owner, the treasurer is attorney at law, the downtown business owner is number 4, number 5 member is a realtor. 6 is also a business owner, and the number 7 person is a resident. So we just need 3 additional.
So 3 additional if it's 5 or 10?
It'd be 10. Yep. So the DDA committee can serve, we just need 3 additional members that meet that criteria.
So why did they go to the 10 instead of the 5?
Because it was 7. At the time, it's
Oh,
7
7.
people. Yes, so
7 people.
7 was over the 5, so we went to the 10.
So it's 7, they would need 4.
That's correct. We need half of the committee, so we need 5 total. So you need half of the existing committee to either do that, and of course, we don't have half at this point. We only have 2 out of 7.
Yeah.
So
Was Doug Jones? Doug Jones, and my appointee is a real estate developer as well, Jeremy Farmer.
okay,
Jeremy Farmer, Carl Simeon, Doug Jones, and Sonia Booker. That's 4 people right there.
okay. So I have
Oh,
their
Mr.
names.
Simeon is here. Yeah.
Okay.
You're the chair? No.
So that's 4. Okay.
Bless you.
Bless you.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. So I'll go back with what I have and give that to the consultants to see if that meets the criteria, and I can give an update at the meeting on Monday.
Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, well, I was asking, my first question was that to be either a developer, real estate, or what was the other?
It has to be a developer, a building, anyone in building or real estate industry.
Okay, but now since we have the 4 people, that's the 50-50, so we should be good, correct?
I believe so. Mr.
Yes,
Simeon
okay.
is here from who serves on the DDA. I'm asking him to come forward. And if you could go through the names of the people on the committee, because it sounds like the DDA has already made the motion to accept the appointment. I'm assuming it's because they knew they had the 50%. Mr. Simeon, if you could,
I had a question.
I'll come to you after Mr. Simeon.
Hi. Yeah, looking at this, I don't know where you guys got the information because you would have had my name and I'm a commercial broker. So just to put like realtors, so it's sort of like general.
Mr. Simeon, I just want you to, the names of the people on the.
Right, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy Farmer, Sonia Booker.
So it's 3.
Right, and let me see, it's someone else. Doug Jones.
Okay.
Mark Hardy's still on there?
Yeah,
Councilman
Mark.
Butler? No,
Mark-
Sonia is the
Sonia's the chair.
chairperson, but Mark Hardy is still there.
Right.
All right, so it looks like we have enough. I'll take this back and revisit it, and I guess Monday meeting, I'll have an update to make sure we have the Impact Fee Advisory Committee.
Well, I'm gonna go to Councilmember Mitchell and then I have a question.
I digress.
You need us to take action approving, like, what do you need from us?
Nothing now. Since I have the additional names, I'll just get clarification just to make for certain. If that's it, we just have enough. And on Monday's meeting, you just take a vote to put them in power to pretty much instill the impact fee committee as is with the names. I'll revise the list that I received, and that's it.
Madam City Attorney, what we've done during work sessions for items like this is if it's included, we can put in parentheses, action may be taken at this meeting. And that way we could vote at the work session. Generally, we just have presentations. Is that okay?
I think it would be okay if we were sure that we've met the 50% of those persons that occupy these professions to make up the 7-member, impact fee. I'm not sure if we're sure. If we are, yes, certainly.
If we are, can we do it tonight or do we need to wait till Monday?
If you are confident that we have the 50% or the 5 people that make up these various professions, you're in a meeting, you can vote.
What is council's desire? We can either go ahead and appoint the members of the DDA as the impact fee advisory committee tonight, or wait till Monday, put it on the agenda as action may be taken on this item and vote on Monday. Councilwoman Shropshire.
We can just go ahead on and vote, because I think one of the requirements for the DDA board was that they had to be in those requirements that Ms. Melissa is stating. So if we can go ahead on and vote, I'm fine with that.
Councilmember Mitchell.
I would like to see a list of the people before I vote on it, because I heard they had some issues with their meetings. So I would like to see a list before I vote on it. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's 1 out of the 7. Councilmember.
Can I just ask Ms. Echeverria, what would be your preference? Would you rather go back to the consultant and confirm, or would you be comfortable with a vote?
Yes, so I just provided her the resumes of the individuals that I have received, so definitely maybe it could have been outdated, and then they decide whether or not they meet that criteria based off of the information we provided. So yes, I would like an opportunity to take this to them, and then on Monday with the names that you've asked, and I'll go ahead and do another presentation for a vote on Monday.
So you have to ask them first, right? You have to ask them first, right?
Right, so if they're already on the DDA, they already voted to be the Impact Fee Development Committee, and they took that vote on August the 21st.
Okay. So I would suggest that we ask them first and then.
We did, and they took a vote.
That's what she just said.
Okay.
She'd rather we wait until Monday and then take action on Monday.
Okay.
So
cool.
Madam City Clerk, if you can place this item on the work session agenda and in parentheses indicate action may be taken on this item.
Thank you.
We need to remove item number 2 from the table. The motion to remove from the table. Are we ready? Okay. The
Yeah.
motion to remove item number 2 from the table.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. City Attorney or Mr. Brown?
Okay. Madam Mayor, we did have a discussion and determined staff is wanting the conditions that are in the ordinance. They are applicable to the multifamily rezoning. And so I know that Mr. Butler made a motion and it was seconded to only include the condition that was in the staff report. And that, according to staff, would be inaccurate.
So we tabled the item. I think that previous motion no longer stands. So now we can make the motion. If we could scroll to the top of the page to adopt the ordinance as indicated with the conditions included in the ordinance. Councilmember Butler.
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we adopt the ordinance as presented with to be included are the conditions in this ordinance.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Shropshire.
I have a question. And I think at one point, a design was presented. I know you had a site plan, but is there actual design of what it will look like?
I believe the applicant should have that information for you this evening.
So I don't have a presentation to show this evening, but referencing the last presentation in the email that was sent around August 24th, there was a design in those presentations, and it was the 2 duplexes.
Okay.
Let's see if my computer's working. Staff doesn't have that in their presentation. Hold on, just. When was it last before us? I'm looking at the August 19th agenda. I don't see it. Mr. Brown's staff.
Question? I don't have that date. I'll have to confer with staff. Mayor, if you'd allow me a couple of minutes. I'm sure she's working on that as we speak. Kim?
Okay, we'll wait.
Madam Mayor, can I just add, while we're waiting for that date, that the ordinance does require that the Planning and Community Development Department have oversight over design, and if the motion passes to go to R3, one of the requirements is for it to meet the density requirements as stated in the comprehensive plan. So there is a limitation and some barriers around what can be done in the R3 based on those requirements, design requirements, and then the density requirements of the comp plan.
All right, Councilmember Sharpshot indicated she's okay with anything else, Councilmember Sharpshot.
So they have to approve whatever is being built. Okay.
They still have to get a building permit, right? They still have to get a building permit. It's a vacant lot. They still will have to go through approvals, and based on the conditions that were stated in the motion, look at, well, the one that we had before, the density requirements in the comp plan, that's gonna say how many units you can even put on, because remember, there's no variance. So it's not like she's asking to go over what's allowed in a R3 zoning in the first place. And then in number 3, it requires the department to have administrative oversight over the design standards.
Okay.
So the type of building material, height is required in R3. The parking is a requirement in the ordinances. So there are certainly guardrails around what can be developed.
Okay, all right, thank you, I'm fine with that, thank you.
Mr. Brown,
Yeah, so we can just move forward, Mayor, with,
that's what I'm doing.
yeah, unless Kim, you have the answer to that question, the mayor's question?
Councilwoman Shropshire asked the question about the design. The applicant said it was shared previously. I was trying to figure out where it was shared so that that could be addressed. I asked staff for the dates. We weren't aware of them. Since post that, the city attorney explained that the designs and other things would have to be approved. And Councilmember Shropshire said that she's okay. Do you have a design at this point? But it's no longer on the table. It's taken a while.
I don't.
Any other discussion? Do you want them to pull it up? Pressure.
It has to go back to staff for approval. Then I'm fine with that, but I guess we need to know if we can get a copy of the comprehensive plan based on that area, so we'll know what it will look like and what to expect.
Discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. We are at comments from council. Councilmember Martin Rock.
Thank you. And I would like to come on and say thank you to the East Point residents of Ward D for coming out to our community gathering. I also want to extend a special appreciation to the Public Works Director, Mr. Reeves, Lieutenant Douglas Stanley with East Point Fire, Eric Emmett with Stormwater. The East Point Department was definitely in the house with Lieutenants Bridges and Brosward. I apologize. Sergeant Trimble, and last but not least, Officer McGee, and also Miss Jessie. Thank you all for coming out and providing East Point Ward D residents with valuable information. My other comment is in relation to advancing health equity in the city of East Point, the photo exhibit. If you had the opportunity to see the photo exhibit, it was definitely a treat to see our city. I mean, just in photographs, they developed a really nice presentation in the Arts Exchange, and it was definitely a good experience. I feel that the conversation should continue, and most importantly, the photograph shouldn't be put to waste or in a closet. I don't want to use the term wasted, but I do think this conversation should continue. So my question is for our interim city manager. Is there any way that we can continue or put the photo exhibit up in East Point City Hall or over to the City Hall Annex?
Nobody is going to go over there.
I don't know where.
Well, we'll
It's
work
an
on some
offline
options.
discussion.
We'll work on some
It's a what?
options and come back.
Offline discussion to consider. I don't know that the city, I'm sorry, Mr. Brown, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say, we'll work out some options and work with you and see where that could be.
Okay, well, you have those options, I guess, by Friday. I don't know what they're going to do with the information, but I do think that it should be displayed for everyone to see.
Okay.
All right,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And to just piggyback off that, if you put it over at the annex, it's not visible because customers don't go there. But if you put it in City Hall, this building, you have people in and out that will see it. I do want to say this. I will be doing a voter registration on October the 6th on a Saturday, along with another group of community activists right here on the city lawn. Oh, I'm sorry. that's my mom's birthday, October 5th, that Saturday, the voter registration. And I believe it'll start around 11. So we'll be doing that. So that's a motion to do the voter registration right here at City Hall outside.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Mitchell.
What is the motion? I think I
To
missed
do
that.
a voter registration, to get people signed up, to make sure they're signed up to vote for the upcoming election.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Freely.
Just Councilmember Shropshire, under sort of who would be organizing it?
I am,
So it would just be you?
yes.
Okay, thanks.
I think, so while Councilmember Shropshire will be organizing, if council approves the motion, it's a city event. I think she's open to
Is that, yeah,
the city
yeah.
participation. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Anything else, Councilmember Shropshire?
I do. I have something else I want to say. It's unfortunate that I have to come back to this, but I do. I want to clear up some misinformation that's out in the public by residents. And in reference to the kids being in the fountain, and the misinformation is I should have approached the kids or I should have brought it to the attention of certain people. And when I walked up and I saw it, I did bring it to the attention of the staff that was at the event. And I mentioned it 3 times to the staff that was at the event. Also, this is not a retaliation to get anyone in trouble, as one council member stated on social media. This was about the safety and well-being of the kids and putting them in a position that was a liability on the city. Because at the end of the day, the fountain have wiring and lights, which they could have got shocked. But when I brought it to the attention of staff didn't have any, they didn't worry about it. It was a non-issue to them. And as far as holding the parents accountable, that has to be where staff steps in and tell the parent, oh, your child can't do that. And if the child continues to do that, then you hold staff accountable. But at that time, staff was at the event and I addressed it to staff. That's what I'm required to do. As far as the splash pad being on, it was on Sunday. I also have a picture of that where the water is coming out. And luckily your phone actually dates and time when it happened. So I do want to clear up that misinformation that was out there calling me all kind of names and everything else, but I'm cool with that. But I do want to put out there that I did address, I went to staff and I addressed the issue and what I was told, but don't worry, we got that under control. Or if their parents letting them do it, then whatever. That was the response that I received. But I did address it to staff. And it was a serious issue. And luckily, no kids got sick behind that because that is recycled water. And to also see that people let their dogs use the fountain. So now the question is, when are we going to put up signs about not getting in the fountain? Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Well, I would say we need to look at it, and we definitely need to inform our employees about safety and that they're authorized and empowered to take action on any unsafe thing that happens. But my response to the signage issue, that is totally up to you guys if you want to do it. I tend to not want to do something like that. You put up too many signs, closed circuit TV, under surveillance, stop, don't, a lot of rules, can impact that. I think that we could police ourselves, if we inform our employees when they are in and around the area. If they see someone doing something safe, they should be able to approach that person or call the event organizer or call the police or whoever they need to call, depending on who's doing what. But maybe that's something that, we need to pay more attention to, is just making sure that our employees are aware of what issues need to be addressed. And that's how I would approach that. Obviously, we can do signs. I've seen some signs out there personally, and it's just too many. But, if you want to put a sign out there, if it's the will of this board, we can do that. I would hope that we could just try to change the behavior first with the employees by talking to them and informing them what we like to see, what we expect, and then move forward with that. But if we need a sign, we can do a sign.
You said you've seen some signage out there?
Yeah, like there's some signage out there. They're like small ones. You can't really see them, but it's kind of congregated.
The sign, I think that's the challenge. If they're there, nobody sees them. Where are they and what do they say?
I don't remember what they recall exact wording, but it just talks about all kinds of things in terms of, where to go, where to walk. They're right out here.
But nothing about the fountain.
Nothing about the fountain.
Yeah.
No.
Councilmember Shropshire?
I'm going to refer to the city attorney. Do we need to put any signage up to warn people not to get in the fountain?
I don't know if you legally required to put it up. If you know now there is an issue and it is reoccurring, then it would behoove you to put it up. So now that you know it's an issue, you're on notice. So the legal ramifications of that is that if someone were harmed by entering the fountain, but it is a attraction. Signs could help. It may not prevent, but at least they were warned. But I'm just trying to think of other, city attractions and whether or not there is signage where there is an issue. I don't know if this is a one-off event since I've been here. It may not be reoccurring, but signage won't hurt. I will tell you that. And actually, I would recommend that we probably should reach out to our premise liability insurance to find out what they recommend, because they cover the grounds and our property. They may recommend something to ensure or reduce some liability.
Yeah, I think we definitely should take a next step, because there was staff out there and it was brought to staff's attention, and the kids were still allowed to wade in the water. And so I do think we now have notice of something different. And so the recommendation of speaking with our premise liability provider and seeing what their recommendation would be great. So maybe you can bring that back to us. I don't know if whenever you get it, so if it's by the work session or by the next meeting, just whenever you get it, if you can let us know. And actually, if you could let us know by email, we can decide what action, if any, needs to be taken. Any other comments from council? I want to say thank you to Morehouse School of Medicine on the successful 3rd Annual Health Equity Summit that really had a lot of providers here. Timo Goody was here, and we had a special surprise. He actually performed a little bit, rapped a part of a song, Soul Food. So that was delightful for me, for sure. Took me back to my college days. But there was a lot of work that went into it. I want to thank our Health Equity Community Advisory Board, and the members who were part of that cadre was a partner and presented. And, you know, when we think about the work that Morehouse School of Medicine has done over the last 3 years and the $1.2 million that has been provided through a federal grant from the U.S. Office of Health and Human Services, Office of Minority Affairs, I believe, to advance health equity, is looking at policies and through our land use, looking at our food insecurity challenges, as well as environmental issues within our city. And so they have applied for a second round of grant funding, which is $600,000, up to $600,000 a year for up to 4 years. So potentially $2.4 million that would allow us to continue that work from a policy lens, but also bring in and build more community advocates, community support, and really do more around environmental justice areas as well. And so I'm very optimistic. We have not heard yet whether or not they were funded, but in the first round of funding, it was $375,000 per year for up to 3 years. And when we got to the third year, we got $375,000 the first year, the second year, and the third year, they actually gave us $475,000. They gave an extra $100,000 because of the work that Morehouse School of Medicine is doing collaboratively with the city and all our health partners around this work. And so it speaks volumes to the leadership of Megan Douglas, who is leading and coordinating this effort through Morehouse School of Medicine. And so hopefully soon and very soon we will learn about whether or not we've been granted, or Morehouse School of Medicine has been granted funding for the second round of funding. The Photo Voice was absolutely an amazing experience. I got chills just seeing our community because it's not about me. It's not about an individual, any council member, any one person. It's really about our community, and the work that we're doing around health equity is really empowering our community and really helping to improve health outcomes within our community. And so we're excited about that work and know that it will continue. The Office of Health, Equity, Inclusion, and Empowerment, Ms. Johnson was also a part of the activities for the weekend. And so we built in our city's infrastructure a way to continue to support the work to ensure that we are helping all residents live healthy lives and thrive. And so definitely want to say thank you to them and all the staff that help partner with them to put on our third annual health equity. I don't believe I have anything else. Do we have any executive session items this evening?
Madam Mayor, I have 4 legal.
What kind?
Legal.
All legal? I meant litigation?
That's what I meant, litigation.
Okay, you got me. See, I'm putting my little for legal, for litigation. See, you got me saying it. For litigation, Mr. Brown, you have any executive session items?
Just one real estate.
Council, do you have any executive session items?
Legal.
Anyone else?
Real estate.
Anything else? How many personnel? 2. Anyone else? So I have 2 real estate, 2 personnel, and 5 litigation.
Madam Mayor,
Yep,
I forgot where we going.
522.
No, recess into executive session for 5 litigation, 2 personnel, and 2 real estate.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. We're in recess.
bro. How you doing? Good to see you. You got more green than last time. You gonna have to
How
come
you
to the
doing?
Silver Fox Ball now.
Hey, how you doing, bro? Hey, Howard, pleased to meet you.
What's up, brother? How you doing? I'm good, brother. How about you?
No. You got your key? Nope.
Hey, this is the man right here.
The DDA board?
Hey. What, kind of like this man right here.
I know. I know.
Make sure impact take care of us. Thank you. Somebody come right here. Where y'all going? Y'all like dinner?
Huh?
Y'all going to dinner?
No, we got 9
What's going on? Yeah. Because I didn't do that like, oh, right around this. I said, okay, we talking about that. Right, you want to just got a point. I said, okay, I know. Show my face. And then she said, they said, like this, like a baby. So they were my resident. So, yeah. It's like pizza, man. Football coming around, baby. Yes, sir. Oh, boy. I mean, you know what? Damn it, Thursday. You know, No, it was a Florida State and Boston College. Yeah, on Monday. I tried to put it on that. Yeah, I'm at Disneyland. I'm like, that's really good. Wow. That's the time you done it. I go exactly to where the cities are, and I watch it. the same, I just go to New Orleans, I go to a whole bunch of cities.
Can I get a motion to reconvene?
Motion to reconvene.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. In the matter of Davies versus City of East Point, need a motion to proceed as discussed in executive session.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve executive session meeting minutes.
Motion to approve executive session meeting minutes.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Good night, East Pointers.